go into kind of sharing. Thank you so much for the intro. And my name is Carrie Drinkwine, like you heard. I'm a regenerative health practitioner. I do own a holistic clinic here in Minneapolis and the Institute of Regenerative Health. So this is my deepest life passion, to really teach people that we can thrive in our bodies. So today I really want to gear this message towards supporting you. So Laquita, do you want to give me a couple of highlights that you want me to focus on? I think I heard talking about hair health and just overall the general lymphatic system, and potentially touching on the root cause of cancer. I just want to verify that.
Absolutely, you got it, Carrie.
Okay, great. So this is something that a lot of this information is common. The information around disease is that we have normalized what is actually common. And this is one of the biggest areas. We're getting a little bit of feedback if you want to just mute. Great. And one of the biggest areas of misconception is that disease is non-curable and it's only treatable with pharmaceutical drugs and medications. And so I want to give you just a really short backstory. I got into this field through my own non-curable autoimmune diseases. So I had lupus, Hashimoto, fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue, as well as unexplained infertility was the diagnosis. And I had 5 miscarriages. Years of being ill without answers, thyroid disorders. I was barely functioning. I was losing tons and tons of hair, and I could barely walk. My feet felt like glass. So there was a lot going on in my body, and I was given tons of medications as solutions. And I remember in that moment, I asked my doctor, well, how does this happen? And she looked at me and said, well, we don't know, but it just does. And you can't reverse it, but you can take these drugs and live a relatively normal life, but there's going to be some side effects. And I remember feeling almost infuriated with that response, like how cold it was, how uncaring. And after I got done crying, it sat in my car, and I remember in my body, I can unwind this. And that began my search. And that's how I got into this field. And I worked with naturopaths and functional medicine doctors and hormone specialists and naturopaths. And I didn't find my answer until I found the work of regenerative detoxification. So this became my career, and I have been helping women, men, people with chronic disease reverse their ailments for the last 7 years straight. And it has been such a blessing to show people when they're at the end of the road and they're feeling hopeless, that there is not only hope, there's real solutions to our problems. So with that said, I want to give you a basic overview of understanding disease and why we have it. We have chronic disease in the body due to the environment within the body. So we hear a lot about genetics, right? A lot of people are like, oh, it's genetic. My grandpa had it. My mom had cancer. Right? We kind of really fall into this genetic slump. And actually, with new scientific research and the research of epigenetics, genetics has a very small contribution to your actual health. What they have learned is that the environment around your cells is more important than the actual information that is within the cell itself. And so environment, the bacteria, the fluid solution, the lymphatic system that surrounds your cells is either creating healthy cellular function or it's creating degeneration in your body. So to give you a basic overview, our body is around 75 trillion cells and 2 fluids. We have a blood system and we have a lymphatic system. The blood feeds all of your glands and your organs. It's like the kitchen, it's serving up some food, right? And all of your tissues in your body, so like your hair, your skin, everything that you see, your organs, they can only be as healthy as the blood that feeds them. So nutrition is a very high component of how healthy you are overall, because the blood is what's feeding all of your glands and organs and providing their nutrients and their metabolic function. Number 2 is the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is the body's sewer system. It's the body's ability to properly eliminate waste. So I always say that you wouldn't poop in your kitchen. And where I'm going with this is the blood is the kitchen. The lymph is the bathroom. These 2 systems have to be separate. And so what happens in the body is the lymphatic system is constantly cleaning. So what you eat, what you drink, what you breathe, and what you put on your skin is what makes its way into your lymphatic system. Now, keep in mind that you are 80% lymph and only 20% blood. And in allopathic medicine, we're so focused on the blood, right? Well, the blood is designed to not show imbalances. So you may be going to the doctor for years saying, I don't feel good. And they're like, the blood looks great. And that is a sign that your lymph has still got it. Your lymph is really struggling, but it's still keeping everything out of the blood. That's the kitchen and the bathroom are separate. When we start to see blood work that is abnormal, which we'll see in cancer, that means the lymph has spilled into the blood. It cannot hold anymore. And we are seeing parasites, pesticides, imbalances, antibodies, all these things circulating into the blood system. And that means you are full. So what this is your lymph system has to drain through your kidneys and your colon. You have actually 4 main elimination pathways. The colon, that's your bowels, how much you poop. If you eat, you should poop. You should be pooping 2 to 3 times a day. If you're not, you're actually reabsorbing and recirculating your waste. And then the liver has to refilter that out and then dump it back into the colon. And then if it doesn't get out again, it recirculates. So this creates chronic inflammation in the body. So the colon is a drainage pathway. The kidneys are a drainage pathway. Your lungs are one of your highest detoxification pathways. And the 4th one is your skin. So what is in must come out. And if your kidneys are not filtering lymphatic waste out, which happens I wasn't filtering, that's how we get disease in the first place, is basically if you think about, you keep filling the trash can and it's like overflowing, like no more can fit in there. That's how I like to think of what happens to the kidneys. We were never designed to be exposed to the amount of chemicals and pharmaceutical drugs and toxins in our environment. I was just reading a research article that was sharing that there's more than 13 billion chemicals that enter our environment every day. Every day. So we step outside, we're breathing air. The average human comes in contact with over 7,000 toxic chemicals a day, between cleaning products to makeup to cooking to processed food. So we were never meant to be in front of all this. And the kidneys are the organ that's getting it all out of the body. So over time, the kidneys are like, I am tired. I need to take a nap. And they do, essentially. So once the kidneys go to sleep, now the lymph system can't drain properly and it starts to fill. What happens if you don't drain the bath water? Gets pretty nasty, right? And this is what we're dealing with, is dirty bath water, essentially, inside the body. The sewer system doesn't have a drain. So when we eat, drink, breathe, put on our skin, all these toxins, there's nowhere for it to go and it's accumulating in the body. When the other thing I want to make mention of is that we are an alkaline species, which means we have to have a pH of 7.4 in our body. 7.4 is not only important, but necessary for life. If your blood pH changes from 7.4, you die. When your cellular pH changes and it goes below 6.8, that is cancer. And so what we're looking at in cancer is you are only as strong as your cells, and you're made up of cells. Your hair is cells, your skin is cells, your organs are cells, everything is cells. So when you have acids entering your system, and I'll talk about what this means, but acids are corrosive, dehydrating, and destructive to your tissues. So when you consume acidic foods that are like your coffees, your meats, your grains, your dairies, your refined sugars, like your cheese, like pretty much everybody's favorite foods, right? Let's be real. They are addictive. They are delicious. We get it. But those foods leave behind what's called an acid ash in the body. And that acid ash is proton dominant, is nitrogen dominant, phosphorus dominant, and sulfur dominant. And it starts to leave these toxic residues in the body. And what happens from there is the cells then start to become destroyed. The cells can't get enough hydration, they can't get enough electrolytes, and the cells begin to weaken. When a cell's ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, that's a cell's energy, to keep it easy for you. Every single one of your cells needs energy, and you have something called the mitochondria of the cell that produces energy, and it produces energy based off the food that you feed it. So if you're eating alkaline, high vibrational foods, you're going to yield a high energy for your cells. If you're eating acidic and low vibrational foods, you're going to have a very low level of health. because the cells are working really, really hard to break down this acidic food. The digestive system's working really hard, and they're not getting a whole lot out of it, right? There's not an equal exchange happening here. So when you fill your body with the right things, then you start to see cellular repair. It really is that simple. And it kind of like the whole allopathic industry, like the billions and billions and billions of dollars we spend on cancer research and everything kind of is infuriating, because it is this simple. Cancer can't grow in healthy environments. Cancer can't grow in healthy tissue. It's impossible, actually. When your body is alkaline, that means your cells are filled with energy and they are strong. When they are acidic, that means your cells are weak and they become attacked by antigens, pathogens, parasites, or microbes. Okay, so when your cells are weak, you catch every cold that comes by. When you get sick, you go down for 2-3 weeks, not 2 or 3 days, right? Your system can't keep up because the cells are just like, I'm so tired, I can't fight, right? Like it's like the fatigue is real. And when we're looking at cancer, this is what we're looking at. Cancer is nothing more than acidic cells that have literally self-destructed. They've broken down on their own acid waste because the cell detoxifies itself. And when the cell gets too acidic, it has to destruct, and the body will eliminate those damaged or broken cells. So cancer is nothing more than acidic, damaged cells. And when we create that damaged environment in our body, we will assume that we will develop cancer in our lifetime. When we have an alkaline environment, we start to repair. And a few cancer cells, or even a few thousand cancer cells, isn't a big deal because we have 75 trillion cells in our body, right? 75 trillion. Now, I want to make one more mention before I switch gears here. And that is that we are 10 times the bacteria than we are cells. So as much as the cells are important and they make up every tissue and structure, like your bones are made of cells, right? Your bone marrow, everything is cells. Outside of that, we have 10 times more bacteria than we have cells, which means that bacteria is more important. So the bacteria literally regulates the function of the cell. It's what is sending information to the cell. So this is very, very, very important to understand, that when you are eating toxic foods, high carbohydrate foods, sugar foods, you are actually requiring your body to produce pathogenic candida bacteria to break down starches and sugars, because that's the bacteria that does it. Those bacteria start to take over your environment, and this is when you get fungal overgrowth. When you have fungal overgrowth, you have itchy skin, you can get yellow toenails, you can get yeast infections and UTIs. This is just the bacterial load is way too high. And what you eat is populating your bacteria. So when we're eating fruits and vegetables, we're populating with what's called fiber-eating bacteria. And they actually increase your immune system. They decrease your chance of having autoimmune and cancer. I mean, you are literally you get to create, it's a chemistry set inside your body, and you get to create the system of strength or the system of weakness. So this is my goal for you, is to teach you that you have the power in your own hands. Now, that was a basic overview. It was a lot of information, and I'm going to segue into one last piece. And that is a really toxic chemical that's been in our environment since the 80s, which has accelerated the speed of human disease faster than we've ever seen in the history of humankind. In 1980, we saw glyphosate enter our environment. It was deemed safe and legal by the government of the United States. It is banned in over 24 countries worldwide, but not ours. It's deemed safe and legal here. And in 1980, we started spraying glyphosate to have your pretty green lawn. This is your Roundup, is the active ingredient is glyphosate. There's hundreds of companies that have made their own version of glyphosate now. It's everywhere. And it is a water-soluble, toxic, carcinogenic chemical that's patented as an oral antibiotic. Antibiotics literally mean against life. They kill all of your healthy bacteria. It's just everything, right? And it also destroys the tight junctions in the gut lining. So it actually compromises the cellular function and strength. So we are consuming this every time we're not eating certified organic food. We are consuming this toxic chemical pesticide every day. Within 30 seconds of being exposed to glyphosate, you already have developed leaky gut. When you have leaky gut, that means that literally everything you're eating is leaking into the lymphatic system, unprocessed, unfiltered. And now that's sending your body into an inflammatory response to respond to the chemical. This is why we have so much fatty liver, liver disease, diabetes, inflammation, obesity, chronic fatigue. This is literally like one of the sole reasons is this nasty chemical. And it also destroys plants. It destroys their ability to process and fold its proteins properly. So we're finding all these misfolded proteins in the brains of people with Parkinson's and dementia, in the pancreas of people with type 1 diabetes, because the body can't recognize this really broken amino acid protein. It's like, what is that? I don't know what that is. And it's getting lodged and not getting broken down. So since glyphosate, we have seen a massive influx in autoimmune, cancer, Parkinson's, dementia, you name it, dyslexia, autism. Autism used to be 1 in 6,000 children, and now it's 1 in 36. So we do have a really big problem. And glyphosate has also destroyed the soil. And our soil is so connected to our human health. And this you might think like, what? Like our soil health literally is human health. We have less than 60 years left of topsoil health. And I say health lightly because what I learned is that less than 1% of the United States soil is actually deemed nutrient dense. So we're in a nation that's overly toxic and we are undernourished. So how are our cells supposed to repair? Of course, we have cancer and disease, right? So Deetra, Nicole, Laquita, myself, we are on a mission to educate you and educate others by the masses that we can turn this around. Like we do have personal health sovereignty. When you have this knowledge, you have power over your own health. And that's really our wish for you. And so we're coming to you today with a solution of understanding that cancer happens from this acidosis, from the undernourishment. Like if you pour like dish detergent in your car, it's not going to run, right? It's the wrong fuel. It's not going to run. You have to clean out, you have to change the oil on your car or the engine literally blows up. It's the same thing on the human. We have to change the oil, right? We have to clean the lymph system. We have to defungal, deworm, get rid of parasites, start putting the right foods in. And that goes right into hair. I have a whole video on my YouTube on hair, so I don't want to go crazy deep into it, but your hair is an extension of your health. Literally, this is an extension of your health. And if you're losing it, it's a sign that you are backed up systemically with acids. That means acids are in the head. They're cutting off the energy to the hair follicles. And so you aren't seeing growth of new life, right? Hair growth is a sign that you are in regeneration. When you're losing your hair, you're in a degenerative state. The body doesn't have enough to provide more, to produce more. So acids are the number one reason of hair loss. The number two reason is malabsorption in the GI, which is caused a lot by this chemical pesticide. It causes mucoid plaque buildup. It injures the microvilli on our intestines, which pulls up nutrients. That's the number two reason is poor absorption of nutrients. The number three reason is poor nutrition, period. Your body doesn't have what it needs to repair, to grow. And then the number four reason is often deeply related to thyroid health. And your thyroid health and your metabolic function is also run by the amount of minerals and nutrients it has to run its engine. So your thyroid does so much more than your metabolism. It literally runs the metabolic function of every single gland, organ, tissue, cell in your body. So if you don't poop well, your thyroid is low. If you have a low, slow energy, your thyroid is low. If you have low, slow digestion, your thyroid is low because the T4 is sent into the blood and it feeds all the glands and organs. So that is a basic overview of understanding why we are where we are and what we can do about it. So I'm going to pass the mic. I know that Deetra and Nicole are going to talk about the solutions that we work with. I work with these solutions at my clinic. They changed my life. They changed my health. They've changed my patients' health. And I've linked arms with these beautiful women to get this message across the world. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. And I hope this was helpful.
Thanks, Carrie. Hi, I'm Deetra, and I just want to show you and kind of go through some of the solutions that we have. Carrie just gave so much amazing information, and this information has been invaluable to me. I am a therapist by trade, a clinical psychotherapist, and I practiced holistically for 15 years. And so my solution was, let's not only work on changing the way that you think and changing behavior patterns, but let's look at what you're eating. Let's get in movement in your body. But I was missing this crucial piece of glyphosate. Like, I literally had never even heard of it. I don't care how much education, how much schooling, it had never been on my radar. And I'm originally from Arkansas. And so I really needed this information because Arkansas, if you look at a map, it lights up huge for something called Cancer Alley. And it's because we have a ton of glyphosate because of the runoff of the Mississippi onto the crops. And so when I got a hold of this information 2 years ago, it really moved me personally because my family and my friends still live there. And so I had all this family and friends suffering with this disease, feeling like it was incurable, could not be reversed, but really it's because we were missing this piece of information. And information is power. When you know better, you can do better. And so I just want to go through the 5 kind of pillars of what we share. We have over 100 superfood options, but every day, these 5 are the things that I'm constantly sharing because this is proven again and again to reverse disease in the body and really to help people to thrive optimally. So the first superfood, Nicole, if you want to highlight me so they can see, the first superfood is called the Power Shake. And so this is 96% of all of your fruit and veggie needs that you would need in a day. And why does this matter? It matters because, like Carrie mentioned, our soil and our plants are damaged. And so they are missing a lot of the essential minerals and nutrients that we need. That means that if you were to eat 6 organic superfood salads, that's about what you would have to eat to get the equivalent of what is in 1 serving of this shake. And so this is not only organically grown, but it is regeneratively grown. And what that means is that the soil that our superfoods are grown in, that they are over 100 miles away from any kind of industrialization and runoff from the like cars and from all of the stuff that we ingest every day. And we use proper crop rotation in the rotation of our superfoods. So that means minerals, we're using spring water, we're using green manure. We are making sure that we're not using fast farming practices. And you guys know that we're a microwave society. We want everything fast. And so we also do that in our farming, which is why when you see a banana in the store, usually it's extremely green because it was picked early. It was picked before it was ready. So when you pick something early, you're missing a lot of the nutrients that need to be in it. It's kind of like taking a baby from mom too early, right? The reason that baby stays with mom for that 40-week gestational period is so that baby can get the maximum amount of nutrients, and our plants are the same way. So we like to have people start with a Power Shake, 1, because it moves acids out of the body. You heard Carrie mentioning about acid forming foods, mucus forming foods. The shake is probably the most alkaline food that you can have. And within 3 days of me taking this, the light bulbs came on in my body. I considered myself to be really healthy, like already eating organically, already working out, but I had brain fog and I was irritable and I needed a nap every day. And it's because my food was missing essential nutrients. And so this Power Shake has been powerful. The second superfood that I feel like is invaluable is called the Super Amino 23, and I'll actually open it so you can see what they look like. So these were actually originally created by an Italian doctor to help people who were on bed rest to keep their muscles from deteriorating. And you can actually find the Super Amino 23 in the physician's desk reference. That's how powerful they are, and that is how notable they are. And so what they are is organic, non-soy legumes that really give your body the other aminos that they cannot make. So we are supposed to make between 18 to 20 aminos. After the age of 21, our body can't produce as much, so we have to supplement some, but not all aminos are created equally. And aminos is actually what our body needs to build joint, muscle, and connective tissue. It's what our body needs for natural collagen production. And I know there's like this big movement for collagen. Everybody's like, get your collagen power, take your collagen, take your collagen. But collagen supplemented is actually not good for you, because in regenerative health, what we say is that what you take, your body won't make. So if you are taking a collagen replacement, what you're communicating to your brain and to the neurotransmitters in your body is that, oh, we don't need to make anymore. She's taking this isolated form, so we don't need to make it. But we always want to support our bodies to be able to produce more of what it naturally should be creating, because that's the best thing for it. And so we also say in regenerative health that we eat meat and whey protein. We eat those things so that we can be strong like the ox, but we forget that the ox eats the grass. And so what our body needs is a digestible, easy source of protein to be able to break down. And that is what aminos are. They're very easily digestible because they are a simple structure, and your body can utilize them within 23 minutes. So that means when I put it in 23 minutes, my body goes, oh, wow, okay, I have this source. I'm going to go to work doing what I should be doing in the body, which is incredible. And it also allows your liver to take a break. When we eat not quality sources of proteins or proteins that our bodies can't break down, our liver has to work really, really hard to break that down, and it gets tired over time. And so instead of being able to support the immune system, instead of being able to control insulin, instead of being able to support the pancreas, it's over here trying to break down all these different things. And the aminos just allow for easy digestion and a quiet digestive system, which is important. Third pillar, this is our claim to fame, is what I say. This is called Biometic, and this is actually just an herbal proprietary blend. So it's just a capsule. You can open it. I like to put mine in my shake. My kids take it. We have 4 kids. Our youngest is 6. She takes it. But Biometic is scientifically and clinically proven to remove glyphosate from your body when used consistently over a 7-week period. So Carrie was giving all this research about glyphosate, which is a chemical pesticide and the main ingredient in Roundup, that it's a carcinogen and what it does in the body. And we are all inundated with it, every single one of us. I was born in 1981. So I have not known a world without glyphosate sprayed in it. It is in our water, it's in our air systems. We can get it from touching a doorknob or a light fixture. Like it's literally everywhere. And you can't wash it off. You know, we all soak our fruit. I hope we are all soaking our fruit in some kind of solution, but because it is water soluble, we can't wash it off. We have to detox it out. And so Biometic is scientifically proven to pull this out through the gut. And what people typically see is a sticky black film in their stools, which means that glyphosate is leaving the body. It creates a biofilm that builds up on the bowel wall, and it blocks people from being able to eliminate regularly, which is dangerous. I mean, that's why we have high numbers of prostate cancer and colon cancer, and people are complaining about being bloated and constipated. It's the buildup of glyphosate in the body over time, and you can't get it out other than to detox it out and to change the way that you're eating. So that is Biometic. And then we have Apothecary. And this is delicious. The bottle is cute and it's beautiful, but this is really delicious because Apothecary is an organic cherry tart juice. What that means is that it supports your body not only to be able to sleep deeply Like 7 of 10 Americans are going to sleep at night, but we're not resting. And rest is where our body does its best work. Rest is where our endocrine system resets. It's where we filter and where the liver starts to break things down. It's where our skin starts to regenerate. Like everything happens really while we're sleeping. It's rest, rebuilding, and repair. But if we're not resting deeply, the body can't do that work. And so Apothecary helps with not only deep sleep, but it supports the kidneys to filter. And Carrie was mentioning about our 4 elimination pathways and the kidneys being one. So what you don't eliminate out of your body, you accumulate. So it's essentially like walking around with a sewer system of waste in the body instead of peeing or pooping it out. So Apothecary supports that, and it also supports natural collagen production, which is huge. And then the last component is called Super Cleanse R. And I am actually in the process of taking Super Cleanse R right now, because this is a colon cleanser and it is a gentle parasite detox. Every person breathing should be detoxing from parasites at least twice a year. In other countries, they detox several times a year because they understand that we all have parasites. If you have gone camping, if you have walked outside without shoes, if you've hugged somebody, if a little child who was digging in their nose and probably scratching their butt touched your face, you have parasites. If you have pets, if you've eaten meat, I mean, basically, if you're breathing, you have a pulse. You have been impacted by parasites. And parasites are, they're really destructive in the body because they're responsible for irritability and cravings and bloating and headache, cancer, autoimmune, a lot of chronic dis-ease that we see. And probably I could just name out even 5, and everybody in the room would be able to raise their hand and say, yes, I know someone that's struggling with this. But parasites have to be detoxed, because when we detox parasites out, we reclaim the health of our internal terrain. And so this is a 10-day process. It's very, very gentle. And then we go back in a few weeks later and do another round to kill off the eggs that parasites lay. And I think it is crucial to health. When I was a little girl, my mom used to do a parasite cleanse on me every summer before I went back to school. She didn't call it parasite. She called it killing the worms, which is just one type of the many thousands of parasites that we can have in the body. But everything that I've mentioned to you today is organic, it is vegan, it's non-GMO, it's grown in regenerative soil. We use third-party testing, and we are an incredibly ethical company. And we don't use any isolates. And that's very important when people are supplementing, because most of the supplements that we see in GNC or Target or Walmart or that we buy on Amazon are filled with isolates. And that just simply means they're made in a lab. And it means that your body actually can't recognize them. So what ends up happening is it overworks our liver, and then we just pee out the rest. What we offer as one of our solutions is just food. And so it's the highest quality of food that you can take in, and your body can recognize it and utilize it and begin to thrive. So I hope that that was helpful. I want to now pass it to my friend and business partner, Nicole Fletcher, to share her health story, which has been so inspiring to see her from start to where she is now, and sharing this with other people. So Nicole, if you want to share.
Thank you, Deetra. Thank you for sharing and adding such value to the conversation. So as has been said, my name is Nicole Fletcher, and I am a certified doula. I'm a childbirth educator. I'm a rising midwife, and I'm also a regenerative health coach. And so I work alongside Deetra, Laquita, and Carrie, really sharing health and solutions to our community. So I'm going to share my testimony, actually. So I started this journey because I wanted to get healthy, right? I wanted to move from the mindset or the attitude of do what I say and not what I do. So as a birth professional, I was in and out of birth spaces and working with women really all hours of the night. So that automatically like taxed my adrenals just because of that on the go lifestyle. And I don't know if any of you are experiencing a lifestyle that's like on the go and you're constantly moving. That was my story, just constantly moving. I was dealing also with pre-diabetes. I was like, my blood pressure was high. I was overweight, and just kind of like couldn't really move and couldn't show up in my body or my life the way that I wanted to. So I started incorporating these superfoods into my life, and y'all, like the world changed, not just the world that I lived in, my experience changed. So I'm no longer pre-diabetic. I've lost 60 pounds and still I am a CrossFit athlete. I just needed to like, I want everybody in the room to sit with that because that's a pretty big deal for me, especially being able to like jump and run and all of these other things that come along with that physical type of activity. So I incorporated this food and it literally changed my life. So I no longer deal with adrenal fatigue and all of the symptoms that I was dealing with before. I was able to show up in my body and in my life whole. And that, I mean, that is just beyond the blessing. I can run, I can jump, I can dance, I can, go long periods of time. I can deal with stressful situations and not like have my blood pressure spike. I know how to navigate and network and communicate with people because I'm healthy on the inside. Not only have I done this with myself, I've done it with my husband. And so my husband is all on board. We've transitioned. I am a plant-based eater. So you don't have to do it that way, but that is the transition that's happened in me. So I used to, be mildly at what I considered healthy and what the world would consider healthy. Like I wasn't a Coke drinker and, some of that type of stuff. But what I found was when I started to give my body the actual nourishment that it needed, I realized, oh, that actually wasn't healthy because it wasn't fueling me. Now, I know you guys may have heard of this statement. You go to like a family barbecue or cookout and you guys are eating, and then we call it the itis around our house. So it's basically when you just want to go lay down and you don't want to do nothing else because you've eaten food. Well, that food actually is taxing your body and not giving your body the nourishment that it needs. Because when we eat food, we should feel energized. We should feel alive. We should be ready to do more. And when we're eating food that's draining us and pulling, it goes back to all of the conversations that have been shared by Carrie and Deetra. Like that's what's going on. We're building acidity and toxins in our body. And so our body's overworking and then we can't do anything but go to sleep. So if you're tired all the time, it's because your acid buildup is too high and you need some nourishment and ways those elimination pathways opened up so your body can function and thrive in your life. So with all that being said, I just want to open this up for maybe some questions. Like, has anything that's been said like spoken to you in a way that you're like, oh, I need to know more, or can you explain this? I just want to open the floor for question and answer if anybody's got something they want to share. Maybe I should unmute you. Oh yeah, you're doing it. Okay.
Can you hear me now, Nicole?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up because I had a really bad start this morning because one of the ladies who I had invited to come actually called me. She was so excited. She miscarried this morning, and this was her second miscarriage. And she said 5 weeks and 3 days. She was counting, and before that, she miscarried in 8 weeks. And she was just in tears. And she said, I really want to come. I said, that's why I wanted to hear, because I wanted her to hear this information. And so, like, would this be something good for her? And she said, everything is fine. Her OBG, whatever said, nothing was wrong. And they don't know why this is her second miscarriage. I mean, she lost it this morning.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really sorry for her loss. And so
She
be
wants to
sure
get
to
pregnant with Dad.
say that again.
She wants to be pregnant, wants to
Yeah.
have a child.
Yeah. Well, one, I would say share my condolences with her, and allow her body to heal and her mind to heal and to grieve. So this would be perfect for anyone needing this sort of help. And so Deetra's still on. I'm gonna let her hop in as a regenerative health practitioner. I'm gonna let her hop on and then we can come back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really sad. She lost.
So Laquita, the question is for your customer who miscarried, is that correct?
Yeah, and I heard Carrie say she had 5 miscarriages. And so, and I don't know if this was what helped her.
Yeah, it was. So infertility and miscarriage really come from the same root, and that is too many acids in the body and a weakened endocrine system. So you need to have, the body has to have a certain level of hormones to get pregnant. And then once you become pregnant, the body needs a certain level of hormones and alkalinity to sustain that pregnancy. And so when the endocrine system, which is the thyroid, it is the adrenals, it's the kidneys, and it's your reproductive system, when that is not functioning properly, the body can't sustain that pregnancy. And so what we recommend, and this is also what Carrie did, she first had to work on getting her body alkaline. So she was already eating healthy, but she still had a level of acidity, and also her elimination pathways were not open. So the kidneys have to be filtering. And I mentioned earlier about the apothecary, and about getting the kidneys open, because when the kidneys aren't open and the body is not eliminating waste, what happens is we're just sitting in waste internally. And so that waste and that acid eats away at things. And so we have to help her to get her body alkaline, have to get her elimination pathways open, and then we have to support her hormones to level out. And so the protocol that I would recommend for her is 90 days of an ultimate lifestyle transformation. And the reason I recommend 90 days is because 30 days is where we start to move some of that waste out. 60 days is where we have killed off the eggs that parasites lay. And 90 days is really where things start to regenerate. That means it's no longer in a degenerative state. So I would recommend 90 days of the ultimate lifestyle transformation, the Be Energetic, which is an adrenal support, and white American ginseng to support the hormones. And the reason that the Be Energetic, and maybe you'll share this recording with her, the reason the Be Energetic is so important is because, and this is for everybody in the room, we have 2 kidneys and 2 adrenals. Our 2 adrenals sit on top of our 2 kidneys. When our kidneys are not filtering, the adrenals, which sit on top of those kidneys, go to sleep. So they can't do their job. And so we recommend an adrenal support to wake the kidneys up to become functional and responsive again. And then the white American ginseng is an herbal proprietary blend that supports the hormones to be able to level out, to regulate, and to do their job. So this can be addressed and reversed holistically. And then I would also recommend some diet changes for her. So really focusing on hydrating fruits, focusing on really eating fruits until noon if she's able, and then switching over to raw veggies, taking out any kind of processed foods, coffee, dairy, things that leave mucus or inflammation in the body.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's what y'all came after. So, ladies, there's a lot of us in the room that I would say that are past 50, right? And we're still looking good. We want to keep looking
am here. Yes. I heard with the conditions that have been described at the age of 50, and then it kind of got buzz.
So we want to say beautiful. Oh, there she goes. She don't like to say beautiful.
Are you there, Deidre?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so Deidre, we want to stay aging well. And we know we talked about the transformation system. How do you take the transformation system?
How do you take it?
Yeah, what's the best way to do it? I mean, you got a lot of products that we've seen on the tissue.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do we use those products?
Yep. So you just add them in. Okay. So it's super simple. Like it is probably the easiest thing that I've ever done. And I just work this into my day every day. Each morning I make a shake. I have been drinking.
Deidre, you're connected.
I mix it with water, I shake it, I take it with me. I put my aminos in a little cup and I just toss those back and swallow them along with my Biomedic. And I take my cherry juice at night before bed and I put it in a pretty little glass, mix it with a little bit of water, and I just take it at night before bed. Like it's not complicated at all. So I know what I need. This is 5 tablespoons of this shake mixed with water, and I'll just be drinking it while I'm running my errands in the morning with my kids. I take those aminos. So everything just comes with, and I just treat it like food. So instead of scrambling up eggs and bacon like I used to do for many years, which takes so much more work because you have to stand over that stove to do it, I just take this with me. Does that make sense? So everything that you need to do this transformation is going to come in a kit. And then you'll just blend with water, take it with you and go.
You know, she say, because you, I don't think she likes to talk.
I say, yeah, he's going in and out. But what she was saying is it's incorporated in, and any of the ladies that are on the system that I sat and walked with, those, whoever got the big black bag in it, we use that. That's exactly what we use. And I stuff that bag, and I usually have examples showing